Hi everyone. We'll just wait for Chloe. Hi.
Hello.
How are you, my love? Have you got your tea?
Oh yes, I have. I've got a little bunny cup.
Oh, so cute. We both thought we would have a little tea time for this Q&A, just so we can chat and it'd be really chill. But I guess we'll start things off. So good evening, everyone. I'm 𝘼𝙧𝙞𝙚𝙚𝙚. I am a body confidence advocate and author of the Self-Love Bible. So exciting. But I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I extend this to any First Nations people watching this evening. So tonight I'm thrilled to host this candid chat with neurodivergent actress, social media star and disability rights advocate Chloe Hayden. Yay! So before we kick it off, we have some questions, but we'd love to hear from you guys. So comment the questions that you would like to ask through the Q&A icon, and we'll try and get to them at the end. And also feel free to show your support and let us know via reaction in the comments if you have any reviews of the books. And if you haven't ordered your copy yet, you can do both through Chloe's link in her bio and my link in my bio. So I guess we'll just get straight into the questions. First off, you are so gorgeous. Like I just want to put it out there. You were like a ray of sunshine. I watched Heartbreak High in literally a day and I was obsessed with your character, and I know that she's so special to your heart as well. And I'm so excited for everything that you're doing. It's incredible. And you should be so proud of yourself.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go straight into the question. So I have a few here and then you guys can ask. So the first question is, can you tell everyone about yourself and the journey that led you to your awareness of being neurodivergent?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I was my parents' first kid, and they were quite young parents as well. And growing up my entire life, I'd always been called their quirky little kid. It was just, oh, that's Chloe, she's really quirky. That's it, you know. And that quirkiness was kind of deemed like just that, parents. But for me, I knew from the get-go, I knew from day one that I was different. And I also knew from the get-go that different wasn't something that people wanted. But I don't think that difference, I guess, was really known or really cared about or really clearly shown until I got to high school. I feel like growing up, kids that are different are very allowed to be different. You know, like you see kids that are different. It's like, oh, like they're quirky and they're strange and oh, isn't that cute? But I feel like as soon as you get to high school, I need both of my hands to talk. But I feel like as high school, that difference and that like, oh my God, she's so quirky becomes like, what's wrong with her? It was in year 8 that my English teacher called both of my parents in, and she was like, hey, I think there's something wrong with Chloe. And I wasn't allowed to be part of this meeting, but my parents told me, they were like, oh, like we think that there's something going on with you, and we think that's why you might be struggling at school a bit. Wrong, however, was tested by going to a doctor. We went to a hospital and they did CT scans and MRI scans on my brain because they thought that I had been by my horse too many times. And I was terrified because I have this little demon hell of a pony. And I was like, if they're wrong with me and it is because of my horse, they're going to get rid of it. I'm like, that's the only thing I was scared of. And obviously, you know, they didn't find anything. So I then went to a psychologist, and after 6 weeks of testing and quizzes and role plays and all of this testing that we had done, we walked out of the doctor's office and we had a diagnosis of autism. And it was a very scary time. It was very stigmatized, still is, but it was very, very stigmatized back then, which meant that when I was Googling it, when I was trying to discover what that meant for myself, all of the stuff that I found was these terrifying medical deficit views of what autism was, and parents saying, my kid's autistic, how do I fix them? And I hate my child because they're autistic, and doctors saying, this is a bad thing and there is nothing positive about autism. Like, you're now stuck with this awful, terrible fate of your child. And, you know, reading that as a 13-year-old is terrifying.
Yeah.
I was 16, I made a blog post screaming out to the universe, begging to find other people like me. And now it's, what, 9 years later? And I've got my book out, and I'm doing Heartbreak, and I've got the most amazing community, and I found 90,000 other people exactly like me, which is incredible, very, very exciting.
Yeah, honestly, that is such an incredible story. And like, it's hard enough being a teenager without, you know, having this thing kind of hung over you and getting diagnosed at 13 and it being seen as a negative thing when really it's not. You just think differently. Exactly. And I think it's amazing that you're advocating for all of these people, especially young people and young teenagers, that can now watch you and see what you're doing and go into school and be like, hey, like your book says, I'm different, but I'm not less. And I think honestly incredible. Like, your story is amazing. So what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were younger? Like, has that changed over the years, do you think?
Oh, okay. When I was little, like, my dream was to be a marine biologist. And like, by marine biologist, I mean, I just wanted to play with dolphins. Like, that's all. Like, and like, honestly, but I haven't got a science brain, so it's not happening. Growing up though, I always wanted to be a performer. Like, performing is always something that has made my heart so incredibly happy. Because when I'm performing, someone else is telling me what to do, someone else is telling me what to say, someone else is giving me my lines. Being autistic, I've had to mask, I've had to put on a face, I've had to perform for my entire life anyway. Now, or when I'm, you know, performing and acting and doing stuff on stage, it's a job. It's like, this is easy. Like, this is what I've had to do for my entire life anyway. So performing always been something that I wanted to do. But I was selectively mute until I was 16. So my parents were always like, look, unless you want to be a mime, it's not happening. But yeah, like, I mean, marine biologist first, but then performer second. So 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
Yeah, living one of your dreams. Maybe later on in life you can be a marine biologist, or even like go play with the dolphins. Honestly, I can relate. I love animals. So when I was growing up, my thing was, okay, I want to like help animals and be with animals, or help people. So I feel like I'm kind of living out my second dream as well. But I have so many animals in my house. My boyfriend's like, that's enough, no more. It's like jungle in here. So I have a bird, Ponyo, and he's so cute. And then I have 2 dogs, a Great Dane and a Rottweiler. So they're huge. And we joke that they're like our roommates now because they just take up so much space. But yeah, he's like, no more pets. That's enough. I'm like, okay, for now. Next question is, what has been your most memorable experience over the years?
Oh my goodness, that's so difficult. I feel like every single day I've just recently started keeping a diary because I'm like, I don't want to forget everything that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Most memorable experience. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. I used to like not even be able to leave the house by myself up until I was like 19. Like, I couldn't even leave the house. Like, stepping outside of the front door was not an option for me. And my favorite band ever, Little Mix, was coming to Melbourne, and I was like, this, I'm doing this. And like, my family couldn't take me, I didn't have any friends, and I was like, this is like, my 19 years of social anxiety, gone, wiped, didn't exist anymore. Every single part of my little ADHD ass was so hyperfixated on getting to this concert. And it was my first, I got to the concert and I made friends, and it was an absolute vibe. And it was the first time I remember I wrote a diary, and I still have it somewhere. And I remember going like, I feel like this is the first day that I've actually been alive. And I feel like this is the first time I've actually pushed into something that I was terrified of doing and did it anyway. And it feels like a very silly thing to be, you know, excited about and to be that memorable. But that push was the start of me realizing, oh, well, if I can do this, what if I step out a little further, and what if I be a little more and do a little more? So shout out to 𝘼𝙧𝙞𝙚𝙚, because you'll really change my life.
I love 𝘼𝙧𝙞𝙚𝙚 as well. I remember one of the girls messaged me on Instagram and I lost it. I lost it. I think it was Leanne, and I just lost it. And I was trying to tell my boyfriend, and he just didn't understand. So at least you understand and you can share that memory with me.
I was printing that off. I would be screaming. I doing that to my head. Like, you wanted
it was so exciting. I listened to them like that whole next week on repeat. It was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She's seen me. She knows who I am. It was so exciting.
The amount of times when like a singer or an actor has messaged me, and now I'm like, I can't even like take in your content, because I'm like, this is the fourth wall is now, and it's terrible.
It's been broken. Yeah, I love that. So what was it like for you, like writing your book, like the process of it, and just kind of getting, like you said, you keep a journal and a diary, like, was it kind of like, you know, writing in your diary? Or like, I know personally for me, I flew to Byron Bay for like 2 weeks to write it, because I was like, I just want to be in the van, I just want to be in nature. And it was like, I thought it would be kind of hard to write a book. And then when I was actually sitting there, it was just flowing out of me, like, and it was like my personal diary. Did you feel like that? And how was the whole process for you?
I think it was pretty similar. Like, being a blogger first, like I kind of started, like I said, I started my journey, you know, via blog posts. So to me, just kind of felt like putting all of these thoughts that I, you know, put on the internet and put into individual posts kind of into a book. And, you know, my YouTube videos that I've been making since I was 18 into a book. So in some ways it was really just kind of relaying what I've already been screaming for.
Yeah.
Now, the process itself though was quite difficult. I got my book offer probably 2 weeks before I got the role for 𝘼𝙧𝙬𝙾, and my deadline, like that I was starting to get for all these chapters, was in the same months that I was in Sydney filming. So I would be doing like 14, 15, 16-hour days, bang it back to the hotel, and like smash out a chapter of the book, and then like sleep for like 5 hours, and then like repeat the process for like 4 or 5 months. It was, do not recommend that sort of schedule to anyone. I'm done now, and it was fun.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, it was a fun time, and like I had a really beautiful supportive team, and Murdoch was super supportive with it and super understanding of it. And you know, I had my partner and my family, my therapist, who were all like, girl, chill, like the world is going to continue if you don't write 1,000 words today, you settle. But yeah, it was hectic. It was absolutely mind-blowing and mind-boggling to do, but it was very fun.
Yeah. And how cool that you like got to write this book, and then you literally got, well, in the day you got to go and like play this character that is so close to your heart, and that just relays the same kind of things. Like, I just think that's a incredible coincidence that, you know, you got this role and then you got this book offer and you were able to do it all, and it was something that was so close to your heart. I just think that's amazing.
Yeah, it was so exciting. Yeah, such a beautiful experience.
Yeah, so why did you decide to share like practical tips in this book? Because it is kind of like a practical guide. Why did you decide to take that kind of route?
Because no one else is talking about it, and because the only people that are talking about it are people looking at it from a professional point of view, which honestly, at the end of the day, isn't the point of view that we need to hear. We don't need to hear doctors, here's how your brain works, and like, here's a textbook version of your brain. It's like, we don't need that. We need actual lived experience. And the reason I started doing what I do in the first place is because there wasn't any lived experience, and actually voicing the lived experience is still so very few and far between, and still so incredibly silenced. And our views and our ideas of autism and how to speak to autistic people and how to deal with meltdowns and shutdowns of your autistic children and ourselves as autistic people is so stigmatized and so stereotyped and so wrong because of these views that this deficit mindset that we have on autism is, that I was like, okay, well, it's time that someone actually talks about it and shares about it for what it actually is and gives the correct information.
Yeah, that's honestly incredible. Like, if you guys haven't got this book yet, I have to say this at the end as well, but I have to interrupt because if you haven't had this book yet, you need to get it. And if you haven't watched Heartbreak High, you need to watch it because honestly, you're just incredible. How long did it actually take you to write your book and to get all of this down?
I think about like a year and a half from like start to finish.
Yeah. Wow, it's a long time, hey, but
Oh yeah.
yeah. I found that with my like book writing, I was kind of the same as you. Like I wrote a lot of really long captions on Instagram, and I came out with my own app. So I was writing like kind of a practical guide to loving yourself because I felt like on the internet when you say like when you Google how do you love yourself, it's like, oh, look in the mirror and tell yourself you like three things. And while I think that's like a really positive activity, there was nothing like that was actually telling you how to take the steps to love yourself. And like, I so relate to you in that sense because like stepping out of your comfort zone, I feel like is the biggest thing for growth. And I feel like I wanted to like put that in my book and like really, you know, make people feel like they can do things that they didn't think they could and they can love themselves even if, you know, it seems like it's so far-fetched, that whole thought, oh, I can never love myself. Like, no, you can. And I just think, yeah, that's incredible. And it took me a while to like kind of put it all together, but I'd kind of already written it in my captions and like on the app and stuff. So I was like kind of putting it all together. I was like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. Like, this is fun.
I feel like if you've already been writing stuff, the amount of stuff that I just like had already written Instagram captions off, and I'm like, cool, I can extend on this. So maybe,
Yeah, I'll just add that in there, a bit of copy and paste.
absolutely.
Yeah, what was the best memory for you in writing the book, and what do you think was the hardest?
Oh, the hardest part was definitely having to bring up things that I had pushed down incredibly, and to talk about things that I had never planned on talking to with anyone, nevertheless put in a public book for the entire universe to be able to read. That was definitely the hardest, and it included a lot of conversations with my therapist and a lot of breaks and a lot of, similar to you, walks in nature and getting out and just having to ground myself. That was
Yeah.
incredible. And you know what? Actually, I think in some ways that was probably also the best part, because even as difficult as it was incredibly healing to have it out and to not be holding on to it and hiding it anymore. And to know that I guess I kind of have this idea that, to a sense, everything happens for a reason. And while some of the things that happened to me, I would rip out of the pages of my story in a heartbeat if I had the ability to, and I would never wish on anyone, I can't do that. So I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do with it now? And my purpose with it now is to go, okay, well, I can make sure this doesn't happen to more people. And that if it has happened to other people, I can make sure that they know that they have someone, and that they don't have to be ashamed, and they don't have to hide it, and they don't have to feel wrong about it. So I think being able to give that to people, as well as being the most challenging thing, is also probably the best part.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely think like those things that we push down, a lot of people can relate to. And you would see that now with like the success of your book and like the show and just you as a person, like people seeing that representation, or people seeing someone who is just being real and talking about who they are and not putting kind of a cover over it. Like we see so much on social media, like, you know, filters, people literally like filter themselves for social media. So I think like seeing realness and having more people be real with their stories and who they are, that's just incredible. And I think that's where we're moving to as kind of like society, as well as people want to see that. People want to see the realness. People want to hear the lows and they want to hear the highs. They don't just want to see all these highlights all the time. So I think that's amazing and so brave of you to like push the boundaries and just talk about, you know, your experiences, because it's honestly incredible.
Thank you.
Sorry, Matt, can you hear my dogs like going off downstairs? Stop
Oh.
it, please. I'm on a live. So finally, this is my last question, but I've seen a few pop up in the comments, so we can answer some as well. But what's next for you?
I don't know. You know what? I've always said that if I can continue doing what I'm doing, I just want to first and foremost be happy. And second of all, continue inciting some sort of change. If I can continue what I'm doing, if in whatever form that is, whether it is in film or whether it's in advocacy and you know, writing, whatever it is, or freaking dolphin training, I don't know, whatever it is that I'm doing, happy, and I want to continue doing my part to make the world a better and more inclusive and more kind place. So I don't know, stay tuned, I guess.
Yes, make sure you give her a follow so you can know what she's up to. Honestly, this has been amazing. I've loved hearing all of your answers, and as I said at the start, like, you've inspired me, and I know you've inspired so many other people, and just keep being you, because you is so amazing and beautiful and real, and I'm just so happy for you, and I'm so excited for like what's to come. I'm excited to see like the new things happening. It's going to be incredible. But thanks everyone for joining us. It's been great to share insights into your book, Chloe, and be sure to tag your friends and family in the comments. If you guys have any questions, we'll answer them now, so just remember to pop them in the Q&A function. I'll just scroll up because there was a few, and I'll read them out to you. Okay. So many nice comments as well. It's so nice. Is it hard to love yourself in such a judgmental world?
I feel like if you know what? I was going to say, I feel like if you're neurodivergent, autistic, or a minority, it can definitely be harder. But dude, in general, it can be freaking hard. Like what you were saying earlier, like we have such this like specific view on what good and right is, and a huge reason for that is because of what people show on Instagram and how people portray themselves. And that makes it hard to, I guess, feel worthy just as a human being existing. But I think ingesting content, you know, by people like yourself, and having people that are spreading self-love, and having people on your feed that make you feel good about yourself, and then offline, take it away from the internet, people in your own life that make you feel good about yourself, and taking away like my looks and my contribution to capitalism and all that shindig, is like, if you take away that as being your worth, and you're like, my worth is because of who I am as a person, and who I am as a friend, and who I am as a partner and a family member and a human being existing on the planet, I think it becomes a lot easier. But yeah, of course it's hard to love yourself in a judgmental society.
Yeah, I agree. I think whenever someone asks me what the biggest tip I have for like loving yourself, no matter who you are, the biggest thing I say is like to kind of, I usually swear with this, so I'm trying to find another way around it. To, because I don't want to swear on this, to like boycott what everyone thinks, boycott society, and just live in the present and live in your truth. Because
Absolutely.
the reason why people, and me included, and I'm sure you as well, is the reason why we kind of don't love ourselves or feel judgment from other people is because we're letting those voices in. So
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is to like get rid of them, get rid of society. Who cares what people think about you? Just be you and do you, and love life, and like do the things that make you happy. And I think that's my biggest tip I always tell people as well, is like, just you know the word I'm going to say, but boycott society. Let's just use boycott society. Is that even a word? Yes.
Yeah.
Boycott society. That's my new catchphrase. Someone said, is there going to be a Heartbreak High 2, season 2?
I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned. And keep.
I hope there is, honestly, because I'm obsessed. Another question is, what would your tips, advice be for young people who are neurodivergent and who want to be able to feel confidence and to be able to find confidence to do public speaking, performing, etc.?
I get the question a lot. I get a lot of people asking me, you know, how they can be an advocate, how they can do what I'm doing. And I guess the thing is to just start. As far as getting confidence goes, local theatre groups and local community groups and stuff like that are an incredible place to help you to gain
Yeah.
in a group of people that are safe and that you know that you're okay with and that you know aren't going to judge you. But as far as having the confidence to speak up about advocacy and about disability inclusion and stuff, just start. And it can start by being on your, you know, your personal Facebook page. It can be making an Instagram account. It can be a YouTube group. It can be, there are so many autism advocacy groups around. I know so many in Australia. From wherever you're tuning from, I can promise you that there's probably something, if not in person, definitely online that you can get yourself involved with. The best way to start is to just start. And I think if you have the confidence in knowing that who you are is exactly who you're supposed to be and your mindset is magical and you are magical because you're a neurodivergent human, then you can start with having that confidence to, I guess, you know, spread it to other people too.
Yeah, I love that so much. Someone else said, if you could go back and give your younger self advice, what would it be and why?
You're going to be okay. Things might be hard now, but you're going to be okay. And I wish I could show, not even little Chloe, I wish I could show like 19-year-old Chloe what 25-year-old Chloe is doing now, because she would lose her mind about it. It's going to be a new tomorrow, and, you know, you're going to do brilliant things. You just have to hold on.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Someone said, a few people said, what's your cat's name?
Oh, this is my cat, Beatrix.
Yes, show us your cat, please.
And she's my little rescue baby. Her name's Beatrix. She only go. She got hit by a car and her leg amputated, and she was abandoned by her family. So she was at a shelter and she had very bad PTSD, very grumpy and very angry at everything. But now she lives with me and she's the sweetest, snuggliest cat in the whole world, and her and my dog are best friends and cuddle up together and everything.
Oh, I love that.
This is Beatrix.
Oh, I love that so much. My dogs are downstairs because I just know that they will, like, I've got a puppy, a Great Dane puppy, and he's huge. He's like literally nearly as tall as me. And I just know if he's up here, he'll just be sticking his face in the camera, screaming. He talks all the time. He's like, "Ah!" I'm like, I just know he'll be a little menace up here. I'm trying to find a few more questions here. What are 3 things you're grateful for? That's a good question.
Oh, I love that question. All right, everyone that's listening, I want you guys to do it to yourselves too, because that's
everyone give gratitude right now.
Period. Okay. 3 I'm grateful for Beatrix. I'm very grateful that she's come into my life. I'm grateful that my book is out because I wanted to be an author for my entire life. And I'm grateful that Heartbreak High is out too, and that people are loving it, because I wish I had that representation growing up.
Yeah, and honestly, it's nearly #1. Can we
I
just
know.
take a moment?
Right at the moment, I'm like refreshing Netflix like every
I
3
know.
seconds.
I keep checking because I'm like, oh my god, it's #2. It's #2. I've just watched it go up, so I'm so excited. It's gonna hit #1. I know it is.
What are 3 things you're grateful for?
Oh yes, I'm grateful for my pets, my dogs, and my bird. I'm grateful for my work because I get to speak to amazing people like you. And I'm grateful for the house that I live in and the food that I get to eat and the water that is always available for me.
Amazing.
Yeah, I never used to be able to say things I was grateful for when I was like in a really deep depression. Like, it was actually really hard for me to kind of come up with things. And now I feel like I've done so much inner work that I could literally name so many things. So I feel like that's a good activity to do, guys, if you're feeling down, or even just like daily. I like to do it daily as well. Like
every night. Like when I go to bed, I just list 3 different things. And at first I was like, how am I going to find this many things? But like I've been doing it for like a year now and there's new things every night. I'm like, oh, I could just keep going.
yes, it's so good. Definitely do that, guys. What were your favorite chapters of your own book? So you answer first and then I'll answer.
Okay. I don't think I specifically have a favorite chapter. I think the whole process of it, I think I like certain parts of it. I love being able to put like my Disney metaphors in there and use my Disney tell my own story. I love doing that. I love being able to outwardly express my voice and feel like I don't have to be quiet about it and feel like I don't have to silence myself in order to appease other people because this is my book, so I can say what the hell I want, and if you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I had a favorite chapter. I think the entire process was really fun.
Yeah, no, I have similar thoughts. I feel like with my book, all the chapters kind of come together as one because it's kind of like a holistic approach of yourself. So like it's every kind of aspect. So I feel like they're all equally as important. But the one that I had the most fun writing probably was I did like a whole chapter on your mentality and loving your mind. And I did so much research. I felt like I was like a scientist or a doctor or something like that. Like
fun.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, and I was writing all these facts and like about you know, the brain and like all these fun facts about the human body. So like we can learn to kind of love our bodies for what they are because they're a miracle. And I learned so much as well. Like I learned, I guess I already knew, but like that the body is self-healing. Like just reading that for the first time, I was like, oh my God, it is. Like when you get a cut on your arm, you self-heal. Like your body literally heals it and then it's gone. Like it's crazy. So I think that was like my favorite part because I was like learning things as well. I felt like I was like a doctor, a scientist, like everything, as well as an author. So I feel like that was really fun as well. But we'll finish up there. Thanks for joining our tea time. And make sure to tag your friends and families in the comments if you think they would like to learn more about either of our books. And to wrap up, can you tell everyone where people can read, hear, or see more of you? Did that even make sense? You know what I mean?
If you guys want to see more of me, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. If there's social media, I've probably got it. And the URL, the @ thing is Chloe S. Hayden. Or just Google my name and you'll probably find it. And if you want to buy my book, it's called Different Not Less. It's in all good bookstores in Australia and available for pre-order into country.
And the cover is beautiful as well. Did you design this cover?
I worked with them to design it. I was like 70s psychedelic fairy tale. Go.
Yes, I love it. So cool. I want to put it up like on a shelf downstairs. So like when people walk in, it's like an artwork. Well, guys, our time has run out today. And if you enjoyed this discussion, you can get a copy of Different Not Less by Chloe Hayden or my book, The Self-Love Bible, right now from Booktopia via the link in both of our bios, or you can just head to Booktopia as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks so much, Chloe. I honestly had the most amazing tea time with you. And yeah, I hope everyone had an amazing time listening. I know I did. And we'll see you guys soon. I hope you have an amazing night.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.